everyone, it's Dr. Sarah Mitchell from Helping Babies Sleep. I'm a chiropractor by training who found my passion empowering parents to teach their little ones to sleep when my own son just would not sleep. And today I want to talk to you about 5 tips to help you get your little one to sleep in the crib. So over the years, I've worked with hundreds of parents with different challenges. I've had toddlers that will only sleep on their parents. I've had 5-month-olds that will only nap in the stroller or the car seat. So I've seen a lot of interesting sleep habits and sleep crutches. So if your child isn't napping in the crib, where is she napping, right? It could be on you, it could be in your bed, it could be in the swing, it could be in a dock-a-tot, it could be in the stroller. And, why is that? Well, I want you to remember, if anything out of this whole live, I want you to remember this phrase, that the drive to sleep is biological, but the way we sleep, it's a learned habit. And these habits are even being present as early as 4 to 8 weeks of age. That's right, 4 to 8 weeks of age. So you can see that as time passes, as your baby gets older, often these habits and these preferences and these learned ways of sleeping become more and more ingrained, and they become harder and harder to break. So, sleeping in the car seat, the stroller, or in the swing, why is that so intoxicating? Well, they feel a little bit tucked in to begin with, but then also the act of motion is very soothing. I don't know if you've ever been on a long train ride before, but it's a very relaxing experience. So that motion is very repetitive and it soothes kids back to sleep. So that's why in the car seat or the stroller or in the swing, motion helps your baby nap more. You may have noticed that if you stop the stroller or the swing, that nap might end or just be shorter in general. Kids also love to sleep in arms, carriers, or co-sleeping. And why is that? Again, who wouldn't want to sleep with their mom? It's so beautiful. It's so warm. The temperature itself. Also, just that repetitive motion of you breathing is very relaxing to your kiddo as well, right? There's nothing wrong with having your kids sleep in your arms. It's a beautiful thing. It's very natural. It's just, are you able to maintain that? That can be something that's hard to maintain long term as your kiddo gets heavier and as you come out of that newborn stage. You have things that you want to do during nap time. One thing we want to look for with newborns is those kids that really want to sleep in your arms or in a carrier, are they uncomfortable? That's the question we want to ask. Is there something underlying that we haven't yet identified that could be making them more needy, if you will? So for example, kids with reflux often like to sleep on people or in a carrier because they're in a more upright position, and that can help lessen the pain of reflux. Similarly, kids with lots of gas or digestive issues, they often want to be in arms or even just sleep right beside you. Even your proximity can be very, very soothing. I just would be remiss if I didn't mention where it's safe to sleep according to the Academy of Pediatrics. All of these things that I just mentioned are technically not approved by the American Academy of Safe Sleep. They say that you need to be having your little one sleep in a bassinet or a crib. You want a flat surface in a crib or a bassinet. So I don't know if you remember, but in 2019 there was a massive recall of the Fisher-Price Rock and Play because of infant deaths, right? And why does that happen? Well, it's unpleasant to talk about, but really briefly, why the American Academy of Pediatrics has these guidelines is that they have found that you want your child as flat as possible, because if you're inclined, especially newborns and kids that don't have a lot of neck strength, the risk is that your child's head tilts forwards in a car seat or a swing, and then they block their airway, which is the risk of suffocation, right? The other reason that's not as commonly talked about is like with the dock-a-tot. The worry is that your child's head becomes pushed up against the side, and then you have recirculation of air. What that means is you're breathing out carbon dioxide, and then it's re-inhaled, and there's not enough oxygen in there. So it's a type of suffocation. All right, so this is why it's great that you're here now, learning how to get your kiddo to sleep in the crib. So let's go through 5 quick things that you can work on. So the first thing, if you have a younger baby, start now, right? Kids less than 4-month-old have a much less strong awareness of their surroundings compared to kids that are older. So it's actually easier to change sleep habits between 4 and 8 weeks of months. 4 and 8 weeks of age. Thank you. So start now. Start working on that. Second tip would be work with your baby's sleep drive. So we all have a buildup of a protein that signals our brain when it's time to sleep, and that is the highest at bedtime. So if you're going to work on getting your kiddo into the crib, do that at bedtime. The second most easiest time is the first nap of the day. It's often described as an extension of the nighttime sleep. And so you'll want to work on the morning nap as a time to practice getting your kiddo into the crib. My third tip is make the transfer as easy as possible. So if your kiddo is less than 4 months and not rolling, swaddle. Swaddle for all the naps. It helps decrease that startle reflex, and it also creates that same, tucked in feeling that the car seat and the swing also create. And then when you make the transfer, you're going to want to go feet first, bum, and then head. If you kind of throw your kid into the crib head first, if you're putting them down head first, that can cause that startle reflex to act. So feet, bum, and then head gradually. The fourth thing is give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to let something new work. So I find when working with first-time parents, and I remember this feeling myself, that as soon as I heard my baby cry, I picked them up. Okay, but I want you to think, what if, you could be beside your child, shushing them, offering some verbal and physical reassurance for 5 minutes, and then they fell asleep in the crib. And then they took an hour-long nap. Would those 5 minutes be worth it? I would think that yes, they would be, if you can get through it. What I find happens is that people don't know where things are going, and so the tears, instinctually, are so unnerving that we don't give something new a chance to work. So I'd like to say, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to be an observer and try putting them in the crib and letting them fuss for 5-10 minutes with your presence, and you're offering them some reassurance. Now, there's a couple techniques out there. There's something called the pick-up, put-down method, and I think this actually has a great potential for babies less than 4 months. So you might put your baby down in the crib, she fusses a little, she starts to escalate, you pick her up, get her calmed down again, okay? Put her back down, offer some reassurance, she fusses again, pick her back up. This could take a long time, right? But this is part of teaching her something new and starting to break the habits of sleeping on you. You have to start somewhere. Now, what I find, though, for babies older than 4 months is that when you pick them up, it's actually harder because they're so disappointed that you didn't let them sleep on you or nurse them to sleep. That when you put them back down, they actually cry harder. So over 4 months, I would advise probably not to pick them up. The fifth thing to consider is the way that we're sleeping still working for all of us? Crib aside. So the drive to sleep is biological, but the way we sleep is learned. So now your kiddo has learned that he sleeps on you or he sleeps in arms and he's refusing the crib. And now he's 7 or 8 months old. That will probably you're probably having a lot of fractured nighttime sleep, which interrupts sleep cycles and just really isn't the best thing for your baby's health. So now is a time to really change up the way sleep is looking and do what we call sleep training. And if you follow me at all, you know that I hate that phrase because we teach our children. We train dogs, but we teach our children, and that's what this is all about. This is about saying, you know what, I'm in charge of your health and well-being, and you sleeping in my arms or you sleeping in the swing, it's just not the best thing for your health anymore. And we need to change things. And I know that that's going to be tricky because now you're 8 months of age and you have all these preferences and opinions about things, but I'm in charge and I know what's best for you. And if you're thinking about sleep teaching or sleep training, I do have an online class for that. It's for babies 4 to 24 months. And I want to teach you why we're doing this. It's not a cookie cutter approach. It's going to teach you why you're struggling with sleep. So identifying those sleep crutches, setting yourself up for success. So what is appropriate for your baby as far as sleep needs go, when sleep should be happening, how much sleep, and also feeding needs as well. I work with a lot of people who get caught up in the idea that they're that their 8 or 9 month old really does need to eat 3 times a night because that's what they're doing. Well, those are habits. So I'm going to talk to you through each age what I think is, achievable. It's very, very gentle. And then we'll talk about sleep teaching for naps, nighttime sleep, and night waking as well as going through sample schedules. What does sleep look like for certain ages by month? So that's my A to Z's online sleep class. If you're feeling like, I don't really need that much, but I'd like some more information. Not to worry, I have an online sleep quiz that I've created. It's personalized. So I'm going to ask you some questions about your baby's age, how much sleep you're getting, and what your sleep habits are. And you're going to get a response that says, hey, this is looking good, this is working for you, this is working for you, but hey, this part of your sleep might not be working so well for you. And it'll give you one simple tip that you can implement tonight. So I'll add those in the show notes. So good luck getting your baby to sleep in the crib. I want you to remember, 1, to be consistent, 2, not to give up, and 3, that your baby is capable of this. So don't forget to be an observer and think positive thoughts as you go through this, right? This is one of the first challenges in your parenting journey, but it won't be the last.